What you're looking at now is an example of the first page of an artifact project submitted by a previous student. Obviously a fictional name, but just to give you an idea, this is what the heading ought to look like. Just give me your name and the course code and AP1 for Artifact Project 1. Artifact Project 2 would be AP2, obviously. Now the first page just needs to be the artifact, which you can label as this person did. And then this is just an example of an artifact document that this student found. Now this student used an email from work. Obviously they cut out some of the confidential details and whatnot. But in this case they just copied and pasted it. I mean, if you can look at the format here, I'm not really too concerned about what the format looks like for the artifact document itself. And in fact, I don't even have any comments I need to insert when discussing this part of it. But suffice it to say, I'm more interested in what the student was going to do to it. And as you can see, this is a fairly flawed document. First thing the eyes are drawn to, obviously, are some proofreading errors, but even some of the content is a little bit unusual. I mean, the 2 employees, a little bit impersonal. Subject is a question. Obviously, this is a EMS dispatching service, and he's making comments related to The Godfather Part 2. Seems a little bit inappropriate. I'm not really sure what this boss was trying to do, but it doesn't seem as if they need this much text in order to do it, and a lot of informal language and whatnot seems to be a problem that clouds the meaning. So, as we then scroll down to the analysis page. Now here I am a bit more concerned with the format because this is where the student is actually typing something. You'll note it should be appropriate business formatting. Print size 11 or 12 is usually what I'm looking for. Basic stuff, 1-inch margins. And the analysis should be about 1 to 2 pages in length. And you can see that this person wrote about 1 full page. Now, it's not so much that I want it to be long, but I do want it to analyze the document in some depth. Just commenting on proofreading errors is not going to satisfy the requirement, because proofreading, well, it's pretty obvious. Okay, yes, there's a couple of red squiggly lines here that tells me that there's some spelling or some typing errors. That's not insightful. I want you to really look at the document and ask questions of it. Why do you think there's a problem? How is the introduction? Does it begin appropriately for the kind of message that it is? Does it reflect the right kind of writing pattern? Does it take the audience consideration, etc.? So that's what I'm looking for you to comment on in your analysis. And what I'm looking for specifically are things that you can then change when you revise it in the third part of the message. So as we scroll down to the third page, here is the third part of the artifact project, and the student has revised the message. It looks a bit more appropriate formatting-wise. They added a date, they modified the subject. Now, I'm not looking to comment on every single thing that they did, in fact, change. You can do that yourself as you look at the document, which is also posted in Moodle. However, what you should see, what I'm looking to see, is that every change that does get made is a reflection of some comment that was made in the analysis portion of the document. If you decide to change the first sentence and change the wording of it completely, well, I expect to be able to go back to the analysis and see some explanation of why it was that you did that. It may or may not be something I agree with, but I'm looking to see what's your rationale. As long as you have a good reason for doing it, and you can defend that reason, that's really what this analysis is all about. And this is what I'm trying to see that you're able to do by the time you're done with this course, is to put some real thought into what you're writing. Now I'm just going to show you the other example here. Now this is, again, another fictional student, obviously. And this person wrote a little introductory sentence here. Nothing wrong with that, not required. I like to show this one because it's it's an example when I send students out to find artifact documents online and just do a Google search. This one eventually comes up. It's just I think it's an example out of some textbook. It's obviously extremely poorly written, but it's also very, very light on details, which is kind of a mixed blessing. On one hand, yes, there's a lot to fix, but on the other hand, it means you as the student have to fictionalize a whole lot of background details in order to give this enough relevant detail to make any sense. But that's what this student did, and Now, in their analysis, they started by even giving me the questions that they chose, that they used as their brainstorming. This wasn't required, but it's something that they added, and the rest of their analysis did go on for about another page or so. So that was good. I got to see what their thinking was and how they were diving into the message and what they thought needed to be changed or added, more specifically, to it. And then here, they decided to add a little bit of, artwork here and create a full-on letterhead, which again wasn't required, but it was nice. It was a nice little addition. And now I'm not going to comment too much on the choices that they made. Suffice it to say that I will always add comments. I will add comments to both the analysis whenever I see a statement that I agree with or disagree with or would like to see you expand upon, perhaps. And then also I put comments into your revised document to see whether you followed along with the analysis that you had commented on. So that's basically what I want you to take a look at and see, and that's basically an expression of what I'm looking for from your artifact projects. Obviously, if you have any questions, I do invite you to ask me either in class or by email or by private message in Moodle. Okay?